Hello everyone, welcome to another video on the Medi DataFrames channel. This will be our first video on the Python Pandas tutorials playlist, and in this series of videos we'll be learning how to work with Pandas library in Python. Here we'll be learning various methods we can use in analyzing our data. So ensure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Also like and share our videos if you find them educative. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Without wasting time, let's dive right in.
Pandas is a high-level data manipulation tool built on Python package. It's a data analysis library that allows us to easily read in and work with different types of data. So we can use it to analyze CSV file, Excel file, and other similar file formats. So if you are getting into the data science field, this library is very important for you to learn. So we'll be learning how to do different types of data analysis in this series. So in this video, we'll be going over how to get Pandas installed, how to download the data we'll be using for our analysis, and also how to get it open in a Jupyter notebook so that we are ready to do some analysis. First of all, let's get Pandas installed in our computer system. I'll be using Anaconda Navigator. If you don't have Anaconda Navigator on your computer system, I'll be dropping a link to a video where I taught on how to download Anaconda Navigator in your computer system. So let's go ahead and get Pandas installed in our system. To do that, it's very easy. Open your Anaconda Navigator on your computer system when you've downloaded it already. Then you can easily go to your environment. From here, you click on the environment which you make use of. And I'll go ahead and click on Open Terminal. Now all I have to do is type in pip install pandas, and if I go ahead and click on this, you will see requirements already satisfied for me because I already have Pandas installed on my computer system. But for a new user, you'll get a whole lot of information showing you that Pandas is being installed in your computer system. So I can go ahead and close this when you are done. So once I have that installed, I'll be using a Jupyter notebook for my data analysis. So let me go back to home. And to do that, I just have to click on Launch Jupyter Notebook. That's why having the Anaconda Navigator on your computer system is very useful, because with that you have a whole lot of IDEs or notebooks which you can use for your data analysis. So you can just go ahead and launch your Jupyter Notebook from your Anaconda Navigator. So let's wait for this to launch up. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is to download the dataset which we'll be using for our data analysis. I'll be using the Stack Overflow survey dataset. So I'll go ahead and open up my browser. Okay, so this is the page, and we'll be using the 2022 Stack Overflow dataset. All I have to do is to click on this to download. Okay, so you can see it's downloading on my computer system. To make it easy for you all, I'll be dropping the link to the website on the video description. So once our video has been downloaded, okay, so it's complete. Let me go ahead and open the file on my computer system. So let me click on download so that we can see the file, and this is our folder right here. I'll go ahead and unzip this. You can see it. I'll be saving it in a new folder. So this is a new folder which our file is being saved in, the Stack Overflow Developer Survey 2022, and you can see we have the README file, the PDF file, and 2 CSV file which we'll be making use of. So now let's go back to our Jupyter notebook, okay, and create a folder So to do that, you can just click on new here, and you see the option of creating folder, and you can go ahead and create a folder for this project. But I already have folder which I make use of for my teachings already, so I'll just go ahead and search for that folder. I think it's under my desktop, and I named it by Python class. So let me go ahead and click on that, and now I'll go ahead and create a notebook. To do that also, you can still click on new and click on your Python series. So this will create a notebook. While clicking on folder, I will create a folder for you. So I want to create a notebook. So you can see my notebook is being created, and with few minutes it will be done. Okay, so our notebook has been created. All we have to do now is rename your notebook to any name you want to give it. So this time around, I'll be giving it Pandas, and I'll call this the Pandas introduction. Let me make this short, Pandas intro. Okay, so we have our notebook, and we've renamed our notebook to Pandas intro. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and import Pandas into my notebook, and to do that, I will say import Pandas as PD, and you can go ahead and run this. Our code said has been run, and you can say Pandas has been imported into our notebook. Next, we'll go ahead and import our data. So let's name this data and say pd.read_csv, and we are going to put in the file paths to our data set which we want to open. So to get that, we can go to our file and click on this. So this is the file path, right? So let's copy this, and we'll go ahead and paste it here. And remember, this folder contains numerous files, and this is the exact file we want to open, survey results public. So let's add the name to it, survey underscore results. Let's confirm if it's results or results. Okay, results and public. Okay, so, and remember to add your csv.csv, and let's place in an arrow at the beginning of this. So you can go ahead and run this now. Okay, so I want to see our data. And let's wait for this to load up. Okay, so these are our data sets. Our CSV file has been loaded. So now when Pandas reads this in, it's going to be read as a data frame object. A data frame is simply a table of data which is made up of rows and columns of data. Now I'll be showing you some attributes and method which we can make use of to get information about these our data sets we've just imported in. So let me go down and click on this. I want to create more code cells, so and to click on the add button. Data.shape. This is going to give us the numbers of columns and rows we have on our data set. So let me print that. So you can see we have 73,268 rows and 79 columns, same as this information. Another method we can use on our data set to gather information is the .info method. With the .info method, we can get information regarding the different names of our columns, their data types, and the number of data or the amount of data contained in each column. So let's go ahead and run this and see what I'm talking about. So if we go ahead and scroll down, it says here we have 73,268 rows of data, and the data columns are 79 columns. It gives you the various names of these columns, and it also tells you the non-null count, meaning the rows of data in each column. So in this column you can see we have 73,268, but you can see some columns where they are missing values. They are not up to the 73,268 rows of data. And it also gives us the data type for each column. So we have integers, which are like numbers. We have objects, which are which represent text or strings. We have floats, which represent decimal digits, etc. Okay, so these are the various columns we have in our data set. If you look at these data sets, when we imported it in, you can see we have a whole lot of rows is showing us initially. If you don't want to see this much number of rows, you can use the dot head method to get a view of just the first 5 rows or any amount of rows you want. So we can add the dot head method to this, and doing this we're just going to look at the first 5 rows of our data sets. So let's wait for that to load up. So you can see we just have 0 to 4, which are 5 rows. If you want to see more than these 5 rows, you can also add any value here. You can say 10 if you want to get the first 10 rows, but by default, without adding any value, it's going to give you the first 5 rows. So if you even want to see just only 3 rows, you can also add 3, and it's going to give you just the first 3 rows of that data set. Aside from the dot head method, we can also make use of the dot tail method, but the tail is going to give you the bottom 5 rows of the data set. So we can say data dot tail and our parentheses, and if we load this, we are going to get the bottom 5 rows of our data set. So if I scroll down, you can see we have 73,263, 73,264, and so on. So just like what I explained earlier using the dot head, you can also add any value here to specify the number of rows which you want. Another thing we'll be looking at is how to get a full view of our data set. So if I scroll upward, you see, for example, when we loaded our data in, we have 79 columns, right? But we can only see few of these columns, and you can see these ellipses showing that some of these values are not being shown, right? So if you want to see all the columns we have in our data set, you can go ahead and use the set options. So let me show you how you can go ahead and do that. So we'll say pd.set option and placing this information in your brackets. Display, want to display our maximum columns, right? So columns, and we have 79 of this column. So let's go ahead and run this, and if we go ahead once more and say we want to see our data, the head of our data, first 5 rows, let me scroll down, and now you're able to see all 79 columns of our data sets. Okay, so you could see we have all the columns right now showing. Same thing for rows. If you want to get all the rows, you can just go ahead and change this from maximum columns to maximum rows. Well, you know, we have a whole lot of rows of data, so in this case I would not go ahead and run that because we don't want to see the entire 73,268 rows, but there are some cases where it will be necessary. So let me change this back to columns. The next thing I will do before I bring this class to a end is using the describe method. The Pandas describe method, it gives us a mathematical description of our data set just by calling the .describe method on your data. So let's go ahead and run this, and with this you can see we got a whole lot of information in regards our numerical columns in our data set. You can see we have the count information, our average value for those numerical rows, the standard deviation, the minimum value, the 25% quartile value, 50%, 75% quartile value, and maximum value. With this, I'll be bringing this class to an end. In our next class, we'll look at more pandas method and attributes we can use while analyzing our data set, and we'll do a deep analysis of this data set. Remember to give this video a thumbs up if you find it educative or useful, and ensure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can stick along even as we learn how to conduct a proper data analysis using pandas. See you in my next video, and bye for now.